nangivuka nginome ngicabange ngijule ngithi kona bekunene njoba sathi sithi awusebenta nase kufika lempela sonto sekufuna siyawuphumula bese sekuyangikhatha emini bekuyangami
ngathi ungahlalela
ngahlala ku Monday to Friday phinza kube Monday to Friday ngila ikhungelwe khona
ngiyethemba somcashi yakufa
no ukatha ngive vele ingene jokweni limiyetsheni kulungile nakunjalo kanisakalive lo phinde nginisale likhona evene sama lesitama ukuthi sitilungise sale sitekatona nizabade kubathu kwamathuba emsebenzi tinenge ngeke ngicethe siyadatisana letibhekelene nelive kodwa ke lihlelo litaba mnanzi kakhulu bekunene siyiphokophele khona esonveni ngelisonto ngiyabala nje ukuthi liyashona lamuhla liyashona ngemgcibelo sesiyahamba siyawuthumisa lo mdzala wetinsuku kuyaba mnanzi kena khona esonto sethembe ukuthi siyawuthi sibuya ngemsombuluko emacala imbiko lesithola ke bafaneni bembubene sive angeke ushaqise kakhulu sivile emavikini endlulela amabili lungelele xa sinawe nje nasikhuluma off air le DD
yakhathata kakhulu mngune nawutothi nje kubikwa over 100 webantu last week nje sifunza sakamanzini bekungisona sihamba impilo so indzaba lekumele ukuthi vele sichubeke siyikhulume sincuse sive samaswati ukuthi mangabe sowuyadiva ukuthi sawunathe kakhulu ucela loyo mngane noma ke cela loyo leso sihlobo lesingathinti
ngoba leswati nawubuka abo 5000 buka abo 2500 inkomo leto kodwa abantu selokubachubeka engcenye vele ayisinganga imali lenzaba sekufuneka I drink and driving indaba kwenje kuhambe ke ukuthungela injobe ecubeni kubonakala ukuthi sithola maphi emaswe ekuthenini ngoba indzaba lenkulu ukuthi asili nalokunatha sidlalo ukuthi bese kuba letingodi letibangekako
washayela wangena nje steeringini so unathile icala lapho
sawushaya nemlongana uyabona
kunjalo mbukele we're still on the month of October, still breast cancer awareness week so nje sanje salwati ngadothi indzaba tamdlavuza wemabele kanye namdlavuza womlomo wesibeletho nolwazi Dlamini uza awareness coordinator enhlanganweni yeSwatini National Breast and Cervical Cancer Network sabe sinalo mhla ekseni kuva nje ukuthi ngabe level eSwatini selambe kanganani zabene kuncoba sifo samdlavuza wemabele this weekend ke kutabe kune Brave the Walk letawucala lapha ezulwini sayithi kuthi ke luhambo lolu zama nje fundzisa nje ngebreast cancer ukuthi sitinakekela kanjani ukuthi sitiphephise ukuthi singatholi ibreast cancer tatisho kwetimpawu ukuthi na sekunetimpawu letithite kusho kuthini lokho nebomchuka nje ukuthi utihlolo usekhaya uhlele ekhaya uyende leyo breast examination utihlolo ukuthi ngabe tikhona nati igadla nokuva nje ukuthi vele singoti kanganani lesifo nokuthi kuba ngumthwalo longanani kuhulumende uma ngabe sawutawufika emtholampilo bathi sofika ku stage 4 imali etinenge leto so bayihlangana bayacela vele ukuthi sive bende lama examination batawusheshe batfole le cancer
imali letinenge nje ukuthi imali letinenge phinze sekubeka enzaweni lelikhulu kakhulu kwana nawe unale cancer ekuthenini is it still reversible sesengalapheka yini vele ukhanza ukuthi emathuba kaba mancane kakhulu seselapho nje incenye nabo bobabe bangakhunjutha ukuthi yebo kona sibuka ibreast cancer ikakhulu kule nyanga kodwa ikhona ne prostate cancer nanayo lematima kakhulu sivile ukuthi bobabe bayakhuluma ekuthenini ngicishe ngilendlela engathi ihlolwa ngayo leya ibende bacabange kanenge kodwa ke ngathi kungcono lokuthi uprevent ngaloko ukuthi lenzo seyikubambile yenza bayike ukuthi wena wabuka nje lokho ukuthi bodokotela batakuthinza endzaweni letifihlekile ukukhuthatha nje ukuthi bekunene kugula asilwe nako sifuna universal health for all asho njalo nemagole yamhlaba la khonsako yafuna ukukhulumisa ndzaba temidlalo ngolesihlanu Fabrice Msoneri nsathele emsakato utabe ahleli lapha eceleni kwami kusipha nje sithombe sokuthi ngabe nasi isihlangu semnikati sisaya kuyawudlala lapha eBotswana neZimbabwe kuyo ke iChan emathuba ekwekuthi siwine angakanani siyathi ke ukuthi umceceshi wasosihlangu semnikati Lugaro sishukile wayicoacha iZimbabwe before encenye ke kutasiniketa lokho an upper hand ngoba sisinayo le insight ukuthi these are probably the tactics that Zimbabwe is going to come into the game with. Maybe they are new, but still, he's had that experience with this Zimbabwean team. And with the very few days, Labe Neslangu, we do hope he has come up with tactics and strategies that can translate on the playing field. Sibuye, siwine, siyatfola ukuthi ngumdlalo lomkhulu kakhulu lona ku define nje ukuthi vele i-future yesihlangu ikanjani. Itimali letenge letiphumako solo sithola abaqeqeshi letiphumako kusadlalwa kulama away games njengoba phela utawukhumbula ukuthi we don't have a home stadium and therefore we play for South Africa. We will be hosting the very same team Zimbabwe lesiyodlala eZimbabwe lesiyodlala eBotswana nayo nyalo. We will host them lapha eSouth Africa, and that is going to be regarded as our home game. Outside of the Sihlangu game, the PLE, we'll have a few games this weekend. These are some of the games we want to look into and decipher and make a few projections as to how they are going to pan out. Similarly, the English Premier League has a couple of interesting games, but we are looking at that Liverpool game that is going to be played this Sunday, and particularly that Manchester City and Southampton game, which will be broadcast by Eswatini TV this Saturday. And then El Clasico, the biggest football match in the history of football, will take place this weekend. What does Fabrice think? What do you think? Let's have a conversation at 7:30. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Mbukeli ihlala nathi ungayenzawo u6 minutes after 6 nasibuye emakethe sithatha indaba tekucala lehlelo.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita lokusembili.
Ujala masolo mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu
sivile sive sithi khulume.
Asenze sinemukele sivusele nalo sanza kusivulela nathi tindzaba tekucala. Sile semhlaba sisingethwe liphovela la Zuma singenele umhlangano wabaholi bemave ka Commonwealth CGOGM u27. Kulomhlangano umholi walenhlangano yenkosi yamangisi Charles wesithathu ukhumbude emave ukuthi yabukete lapho abuya khona phinze aticaphe ngaloko lese angiko lamuhla.
Silo semhlaba singethwe liphovela la Zuma singenelele umhlangano weminyaka wa 2024 lonesicubulo lesithi One Resilient Common Future Transforming Our Commonwealth. Ekufikeni kwayo imbubo emhlaba kulomhlangano yemukelwe umabhalane jikelele wenhlangano yaka Commonwealth Her Excellency Patricia Scotland kanye nandvunankulu weleva leSamoa. Lomhlangano wakachoka i-Commonwealth House of Government meeting uhlanganisa tive letingamashumi-5 letibuya e-Afrika enhlanganweni yemavele abamhlophe e-Pacific kanye nakuletinye tifundza temhlaba. Ingwenyama ibenzawonye nabaholi bemave nabohulumende kudzingidza ukuthi emave ngaphansi kwe-Commonwealth angasebenzisana njani kwakha nekumisa lenhlangano akhulise tekuthengiselana aphindze futhi aqinisekise ukuthi intsha yakhali kusasa lelinekuthula nalelinentuthuko leConsile.
The King of Eswatini
Inkosi yamangisi inkosi Charles wesithathu ingenelelo mhlangano isingethwe yindlovukazi Camilla kanti lonyaka ingenelelo mhlangano kokucela ngca inkosi. Lo mhlangano lona ubuketa kuqinisane kundlondlobalisa kubambisana nokubuketa emathuba lamasha ekulwa netinkinga letikhungethela amave letingahle tibe nemithelela esitukulwaneni lesitako nelikusasa laso kani ubanjwa njalo ngemiva kweminyaka lemibili. Umholi walenhlangano inkosi Charles wesithathu ukhumbute emalunga enhlangano ukuthi akhumbule lapho abeya khona aticaphe ngalangiko lamuhla.
For my part, I can assure you today that for however many years God grants me, I will join you and the people of the Commonwealth on every step of this journey. Let us learn from the lessons of the past. Let us be proud of who we are today, and together let us forge a future of harmony with nature and between ourselves that our children and our grandchildren deserve.
Lobeka ngusihlalo walenhlangano mengameli welive leRwanda His Excellency Paul Kagame wendlulisele lesihlalo kusihlalo lomusha longundvunankulu welive leSamoa. Uthe kudzingeka timali kuwelalibhuho lekugucugucuka kwesimo selitulu kodwa onke emave kumele atibophelele atimbandzakanye nokulwa nalenkinga.
The people of Samoa have been eagerly awaiting your arrival.
Ndunankulu welive leSamoa Her Excellency Fiame Naomi Mataafa emukela ingwenyama nebaholi bemave uvote ukuthi umthetho kanye nemkhombandlela walenhlangano uququtela kubumbana nekuba munye kwemave yalenhlangano lebese kuba nemithelela etiveni tawo. Lo mhlangano wemave Commonwealth wemashumi lamabili nesikhombisa kusukela waqala kanike lenhlangano yemave ladlelana nemangisi kulomnyaka ihlanganisa iminyaka lengamashumi lasikhombisa nesihlanu kusukela kwasayinwa sivumelwano iLondon Declaration. Silo semhlaba inkosi yemangisi kanye nebaholi bemave nabohulumende bathathe isithombe semalunga aka-Commonwealth kulomnyaka wa-2024.
Be strong to protect our common future and commonwealth. Please remember us in your hearts as we live through your time. We are the future, tomorrow's generation.
Baholi ngemuva kokuvulwa kwalomhlangano ngokomthetho babese bangena egumbini lapho babenetingxoxo tangansense. Ingwenyama beyisingethwe ngumvanenkosi Simelane, umvanenkosi Cebile, indvuna yetangaphandle nekubambisana nalamanye emave Pholile Shakhantu, indvuna yetekuhlela umnotfo Dr. Tambo Gina, indvuna yetemabhizinisi Mancoba Khumalo, loncuselele Eswatini eMalaysia nakulamanye emave eAsia His Excellency Menzi Dlamini kanye naloncuselele Eswatini eNgilandi Her Excellency Thandazile Mbuyisa. Silo semhlaba ngaphambi kwelilanga lalomhlangano sisingethwe liphovela lazuma singenele sidlo sakusihla sekwemukela abaholi kuleli leSamoa. Lesidlo sakusihlwa besikathe silungiswe ngusihlalo wenhlangano yaka-Commonwealth inkosi Charles wesithathu kanye nombuso welive leSamoa. Etintsabeni kubika Pholile Maziya, anamxolisi Mavimbela naThemba Mamba eSamoa.
Liphini landvunankulu imphumathu Kusile Dladla lithi uhulumende utibophelele ekuthuthukiseni timpilo tesive kuto tonke tinhlangothi ngekhambisana nemigomo yakamhlabuhlangene. Liphini landvunankulu belimelelwe yindvuna yetekuvakasha emcimbini wokugubha usuku lwakamhlabuhlangene lobubanjelwe esikoleni lesincane eZulwini Community School.
Akhuluma melele liphini landvunankulu umhlonishwa Jane Simelane uthi livela kangwane lifise kuba nentuthuko lekhonsako kungako tonke tinhlelo talo tihambisana kanye nemigomo yakamhlabuhlangene.
The country has partnered with UN since time immemorial, and there's a lot that the country has achieved through the partnership with the United Nations. That partnership, we have seen the partnership bearing fruits, especially in legislation formulation, or the legal fraternity. We have seen the UN supporting the country in the ratification of international treaties of all forms. We have seen the UN supporting the country in the formulation of legal frameworks, in reforms, in formulation of policy strategies, and even in the institutionalization of respective institutions for implementation of respective legislation and policies. We have seen UN supporting capacity building in different sectors. Let me say in all sectors.
Losabambe kuba ngumchumaniso wetinhlelo takamhlabuhlangene kuleli Nuhakesi uthi mhlabuhlangene ukhathatekile ngetimpi kanye netidungudungu letikhungathe umhlaba njengoba tihlukumeta bomake nebantwana tibambelele nentuthuko.
The United Nations continue to stand for hope. We stand for peace. We stand for justice. And we stand for a better future for all. The recent adoption of the Pact of the Future and the Global Digital Compact and the Declaration of the Future of Generation all aim to ensure that our efforts meet the needs of people today while we prepare for tomorrow.
Sikhulu sasezulwini umngane Mashambu Khumalo sithi bantwana labakhula bafundziseke kahle ngemisebenzi yelive kanye neyakamhlabuhlangene bayaticondzisisa tindzaba tebuholi nasebakhulile.
Siyathanda kumbonga Mhlabuhlangene bekunene kuzo tonke tigaba lapho asabe usito khona bantwana babaholi bakusasa labataba baholi belive baphinze babe baholi nakuma regions bangaphinze babe baholi futhi nakhona kamhlaba na internationally lokukhanya ukuthi nangabe bati letimiso takamhlabuhlangene nembala nalapho bakhona khona bayapromota kona kuthula baphinze promote kona dona tenhlala kahle.
Le nhlangano yakamhlabuhlangene ilekelele lesikolo ngekuchibela siyilo semagumbi ekufundzela kupenda kanye nekwelula ingadze yaso kuhlanyelwe netibhidvo temdzabo. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Mbongwa Dube ezulwini.
Losabambe kuba yindvuna yelitiko letebuchwephesha lekuyindvuna yelitiko letisebenti kanye nenhlalakahle yato umhlonishwa Phila Buthelezi ithi tekuphepha ebucaleni lobenteka kutebuchwephesha kuyintfo live lakuleli lelibeke imbili. Imvuna Buthelezi kusho lokhu ngesikhatsi sokumisa ngalokusemtsetfweni umhlangano sikolo lohlose kuhlola ukuthi lakuleli likulungele kanganani kulwa nebucala baloluhlobo i-Eswatini workshop on cyber readiness. Umhlangano sikolo ulongenelwe tinhlangano letinyenti letitsindzekako ubanjelwe ehotela eRoyal Villas.
Lo mhlangano sikolo lo ubanje esikhatsini lapho khona lakuleli ligubha inyanga yekuvikela kanye nekufundzisa ngebucala lobenteka ngetebuchwephesha i-National Cyber Security Awareness Month ngephansi kwesiqubulo lesithi asiphepheni secure our world. Ikhuluma ngesikhathi ivula lo mhlangano ngalokusemtsetfweni indvuna yelitiko letisebenti kanye nenhlalakahle yato umhlonishwa Phila Buthelezi lebekathi imele indvuna yelitiko letebuchwephesha. Ithi kulesikhathi lesi sebuchwephesha bungoti lobhekene nelive bungilobucakile nalobuhlala bugucuka njalo nje.
In today's digital age, the threats we face are becoming more sophisticated and evolving.
Kudzingeka imitamo yekusebenzisana kuhlala kuchiziwe kanye nekutimisela kude bucala baloluhlobo buvikeleke kanye nemphahla. Kulungelwa kulwa nebucala betebuchwephesha akusho kufaka imishini yetebuchwephesha kuphela. Kodwa kusho kwakhasimo lapho khona sihlala silungele ukubona lobucala kanye nekubambisana kwetinhlangothi tonke. La kuleli selihambe libanga lelibonakalako kuloko. Lokhu kufaka ikhathi kushicilela luhlaka lelilwa nalobucala i-National Cyber Security Strategy kusuka eminyakeni wa-2022 kuya eminyakeni wa-2027.
Lo mhlangano lo uhlanganiswe lihhovisi lonxusele live laseMelika kuleli lobu ukuthi ubuchwepheshe kuleli hhovisi alendiwathi uthi lakuleli kumele lihlale ligadzile emacala alolu hlobo.
Cybersecurity is no longer just a technical issue. It is a critical component of national security.
Emacala etebuchwepheshe akasiyo nje into lekumele ithatheke njengebuchwepheshe kodwa imcoka kakhulu ekuvikeleni live. Njengalokhu laseSwatini lisemkhankasweni wekufaka lonke lusito lwahulumende tebuchwepheshe i-government kude litotholakala kulo lonke liSwati kanye nasekuthuthukiseni umnotho. Kumcoka ukuthi kwentiwe imetamo lemikhulu kuvikela bucala lobungeta nalokhu.
Umphathi wemlawulo wetekuchumana eSwatini Communications Commission bekakatsamele ngifikile gama.
We understand that the digital landscape is constantly evolving.
Siyaconza ukuthi tebuchwepheshe tiyagucuka. Kwethu kuqinisekisa ukuthi sihamba embili. Kuhambisana naloku sikuhambela embili kufundisa ngetebuchwepheshe.
Nakusukunyiswa ngasemthethweni inyanga yekulwa ngemacala etebuchwepheshe umlawulo wetekuchumana waveta ukuthi uhlaselwa kutebuchwepheshe kwenteka njalo nje emizuzwini lengu-39 kuleli ikakhulukati kutekufumela imali ngetindlela tesimanje manje. Etindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla ngisezulwini.
Imvuna yelitikile tekuvakasha netindzaba temvelo umhlonishwa Jane Simelane seyibekele ibhodi lelitobuka tekugembula kuleli lelitokuba sehovisini isikhathi lesingengci iminyaka lemithathu. Imvuna igcizelele ukuthi le bhodi ayisebente ngesivinini sankwe njengoba mnyendo umsebenzi lekumele iwende kulolu hlangothi letekugembula eveni.
The new Gaming Board of Control Act 2022, with which you are appointed, details the following functions, framework, and the composition of the board.
Lo mthetho wetekugembula wa 2022 lenibekwa ngawo uchaza kahle kamhlophe ukuthi nitobe nisebenta kanjani futhi nibekwa kanjani. Ngiyanicela ke ukuthi niwulandzisise lo mthetho niphindze nente umsebenzi wenu ngesivinini sankwe ikakhulu ekuvuleni kwemabhizinisi lamasha lapha eveni. Kuvula ibhizinisi ke akameli kuthatha isikhathi lesithe. Uma kutokwendeka ukuthi kube netindzaba talabo somabhizinisi kutekugembula ngicela tisetshenzwe ngekushesha.
So issuing licenses is one of the key pillars in the business establishments in the country. We have Mandla Laki Dlamini, the chairperson of the gaming board. Umlangi is the chairperson. We have Telmusa Dlamini, who is a member. We have Temba Manana, who is the ICT specialist. We have Figile Dlamini, a member representing the Accountant General's Office. We have Tandegas Melane, a member representing the Attorney General's Office. We have Magasintia Lukumba, a member. We have Gnangai Tabetse, a member. We have Max Lamini, forming part of the Secretariat. That is the inspector.
Litiko letekuvakasha selisungule luhlelo letekuvakasha le-Triland Familiarization Tour ngekubambisana neMpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency kanye ne-Mozambique Tourism Board. Umkhankaso ohlose ukundlondlobalisa itekuvakasha kuleli kanye nekukhuthata kubambisana kulamavela amathathu kutekuvakasha. Imvuna yetekuvakasha umhlonishwa Jane Simelane ithi unelithemba lekuthi lo msebenzi utawuba yimpumelelo lenkulu ngoba lase-Mozambique nelaseNingizimu Afrika letha imakethe lenkulu kuleli.
Lesivumelwano sekuthuthukisa tekuchumana kulamave lamathathu siyindlela ikhulisa lizinga lekuvakashelana kanye nemali leletfwa nguloluhlangothi lwetekuvakasha emnothweni yalamave. Indvuna yetekuvakasha umhlonishwa Jane Simelane uthi lokhu kuyimetamo yelitiko kuqinisekisa ukuthi tekuvakasha tifaka sandla lesibonakalako emnothweni welive.
Rooted firmly in the aim to promote the region as a tourist, trade and investment destination. The rebirth of the Triland Agreement could not have come at the more appropriate time. As the world enjoys the caution revival of tourism sector, the need for collaboration has never been more pronounced. Therefore, Triland responds aptly and directly to the new world order by enabling joint investment opportunities, product and infrastructural and marketing initiatives of Eswatini, Mpumalanga, and Mozambique route. Collectively, Eswatini, Mozambique, and Mpumalanga have revived this initiative with the goal to promote our unique selling point, nurture in Mpumalanga, culture in Eswatini, the sea, and white sand beaches in Mozambique.
Umhlonishwa uthi lesivumelwano angeke sigcine ngekuthuthukisa luhlangothi lwetakhiwo, kepha sitawendlula siside nelitiko kufeza imigomo lelatibekela wona, kuthi ngemnyaka wa 2027 live le-Eswatini kufanele libe selingenise tivakashi letilinganiselwa etigidini letimbili. Etindzabeni kubika Sethabile Mamba, Anakiyani Msibi Embabane.
Kanti-ke kutemidlalo sizakwati indzabate sihlangu umengameli wenhlangano leyengamele ibhola kuleli Peter Simelane uthi kude live lifeze liphupho lekudlala kahle imidlalo ye-Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers ngeminyaka wa 2030 ukutawubita ukuthi likhethelo lesive licale kutimisela emidlalweni yema-CHAN liphindze lenyuse ema-FIFA rankings lapho khona nyalo lisendzaweni yesi-160 kule mphumela lemisha. Simelane bekakhuluma ngesikhathi yavalelisa sihlangu Technical Center Kalobamba.
Sihlangu semnikati sisukile kuleli salibhekisa eveni laseBotswana edolobheni leFrancis Town kutholana nelikhethelo lesive laseZimbabwe ngaphasi kwe-CHAN qualifiers. Kuseyiwa kulo mdlalo sihlangu sehlile kuwe ma-FIFA rankings laphumile langelanomhla lapho khona sisendzaweni yesi-160 kanti enyanga lephelile besendzaweni yesi-159. Ngamalo inhlangano emidlalo yebhola kuleli Peter Simelane uthi nangabe live litawenyuka kuwe ma-rankings ubheke ukuthi kucale kudlala kahle kule midlalo ye-CHAN.
I-mandate yami kuthi is to ensure lokuthi at least by 2030 i-national team sihlangu ufuna ukuthi sibe sidlalile kuma AFCON or CHAN finals. So ke lena sekucaleni is the beginning of the road. Siyacela nje ukuthi hambane niyosilwela.
Umqeqeshi welikhethelo lesive luGarosich kanye nekapteni wakhe Sifiso Mathe bathembise live ukuthi batawuchubekela esigabeni lesilandzelako.
And we will do all what we have to do to participate in that competition up there. We are ready, we have some injuries, but we haven't got first 11, we have first 22 players. That means everybody's ready. I am ready, technical team is ready. God bless us and let's do the job.
The tournament lensha le nathi sitimisele and sifisa ukuthi sidlale kahle. Le nginethemba lokuthi sine advantage ke thina because I tournament idlalela ama local players. So thina solo sikanye kanye simunye lenqabanga ukuthi sitawukhona kusebenza kulomdlalo lesiya ku sibuye nemiphumela lemihle.
Lo mdlalo utawudlalelwa eBotswana ngelisomvu lesiya kulo ngesizathu sekuthi iZimbabwe nayo ide inkundla lesizingeni lelikahle lelifunwa ngeCAF kanye naFIFA bese kuthi umlento wesibili udlalwa mhla ka2 enkundleni yaseMbombela eNingizimu Afrika. Lo umsakazi Eswatini TV kutemidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanzumbi kuhlanganiswa nguFabrice Msonera Embabane.
Anedota emidlalo siyadephetha sasalkhe funa sibuya sikhulumisana nebaka Breast Cancer Network. Sakuvusela nawo lo sandzako sivulela, it's a Friday morning. Thank you for tuning in. Njengoba senithembisile ukuthi sizabe sikhuluma kabanti nge-breast cancer awareness month. Akhumbula ukuthi inyanga lena le-dedicated ukuthi nje kwanziswe lwati ngamdlavuza wemabele kanjalo namdlavuza wemlomo wesibeletho. I'm joined by Nolwazi Dlamini longu awareness coordinator ka Eswatini breast and cervical cancer network. Usichazela nje kabanti ukuthi kahle kahle vele i-breast cancer ne cervical cancer ingoti kanganani emfeni wesifazane kanjalo nakubesilisa. Asikuvusele Nkosi saba ngizube nasi lo mhla ekseni. Sebe siyanibona nehle nenyuka inyanga yonke niyangena etinkapanini etikolweni emimangweni solo niyafundisa ngayo i-breast cancer. Kahle kahle nasikhuluma nje nge-breast cancer vele ingoti kanganani. You understand ukuthi vele it's amongst the top cancers la ingoti labulalanako futhi emhlabeni wonke kungaseswatini kuphela. Nasikhuluma nje nge-breast cancer sithini ingoti kanganani?
Sibonge kakhulu kuwe Magagola kuba khona siphindze sivusele nakoyombukele ekhaya. Indzaba yamdlavuza indzaba lenkhulu kakhulu nalemcoka kakhulu. Kungako sithi noma kungenyama ngaye imphala nje nangaphandle kwayo asikhulumeni ngayo. Siyajabula ke lokuthi asisakhulumi nebantu labadzala kuphela kodwa sesikhuluma nalomlibalo yayembili futhi ngoba siyabona lokuthi lo mehluko mhlawumbe ngeke kube ne-impact kakhulu kulendzaba ye-detection kukithi thina sibadzala kwendlula kulaba labasakhula. Kungako sithi imcoka lendzaba lena yokuthi kakhulu lendzaba ye-behavior siyishintshe nyalo. So khona lokuthi uma ngabe kukhona umonakalo lokhona usheshe utholakala. Indzaba yamdlavuza ihlupha lokuthi umonakalo lo wendeka kwemtimbeni kancane kancane kuletakha mtimba. Uthi ungendeka lo monakalo khanze ukuthi esikhatsini lesiningi kuba bede lokubikelako ukuthi kunemonakalo. Ukhanza ukuthi lo monakalo uyendeka gradually kugcine sekonakele kakhulu. Letimpa ukhanza sitivela sekunalo monakalo lo seumningi. So ukhanza kuthina sesikhulumisa ngendzaba yekwelapha sekuba likhulu lokwelapha ngoba kancane kancane wakhekile lo monakalo wase uyanza. Kungako ke sithi kumcoka lokuthi sitifundzise kuhamba nje siyohlola singakasoli lutho. Kuthi sinakhona lokucala ke emtimbeni wemuntu kusheshe kubonakale umuntu akhona kwelashwa masinyane.
Yeah. So nje silivele Eswatini simephi ngadoti indzaba ye-breast cancer siyanibona vele niyafundzisa kunengi sivele sikuvaka ngani kakhulu kade nje emangweni nasemsebenzini la sinibona khona simephi nas in terms of ama cases nemthwalo ngoba sathi lokuthi bese bangumthwalo uhulumende nangabe lo muntu useketa seku stage 4 ngiyabekisa ingabe vele simephi in terms of ama cases nekelashwa kwabamfu.
Tiko letempilo kuneminyango lesibitanga ukuthi National Cancer Control Unit. Uphindze ke ube lakhona kubalwa khona lama cases alama cancers lakhona live lonke. Baye bazivetele lokuthi kulabo mdlavuza nje cishe labasihlanu labahamba imbili even lethu. Lo wemabele yena ucishe ungunumber 2 kulabo mdlavuza labayinkinga even lethu labathatha impilo dabo make bemaswati kanye nabo babe. Lokwenda ke ukuthi sibone ukuthi lo mthwalo mkhulu lo mthwalo Magagula ngoba kube sengena indzaba yetimali nakukhulunywa indzaba yamdlavuza. Kwelashwa kwakhe kube sekuhamba kuyadula kudule financially kuphindze kudule kulomuntu lo welashwako ngoba kunetinto letiningi lesendlula kito. Khanze ukuthi nekuba semsebenzini nje sekuhamba kuba likhuni ngoba phela sesinengi lesikhathi lekufuna asingcince ngalana esibhedlela asafuna kwelashwa sekwenda ke lokho ukuthi nalomkhicido wakhe so ugcine uyathintheka. Sengako ke sithi kuba nekudula nje ekwelashweni kwamdlavuza. Kungako sithi ke ngoba ngaleto dizathu leto dinake vele lokuthi uhlole nyalo ungakasoli lutho nyalo kusahamba kahle konke sitomane sikuthole kusaqala utokhona kusidala kalula.
Inhlangano mhlawumbe nje tempilo WHO yavetela ukuthi njalo ngeminyaka emhlabeni wonke 2.3 million cases abantu bayareport ukuthi banamdlavuza wemabele. Ngabe nasibona nje la Eswatini nasibona nje ama cases yathi lokuthi vele uvame kakhulu kubomake but nabo babe sebaya nawo ama cases ayevela ukuthi kuba khona lababa nawo. Ingabe uyahluka yini umdlavuza loyo kubabe noma kumake yes noma yafanana?
Uma ngabe asebelene kumake noma ngubabe kuyacisha kufani ngoba babe yebo utele isigubhu selibele mhlambe lelikhula libe likhudlwana kodwa naye unalo lelimasela noma letinyamana letakha lelibele lesithi breast tissue ngalokuthi unalo ke nakuye lo monakalo uyende kaqishe ufane namake kungako nakuye babe sibone ngato letigadlana sibone ngako lokushintsha kwalesikhumba ngathi siyacina kuso lesibele lesincane ubone nje lokuthi kunemehluko nasikhuluma ngeke lokuthi linye likhula kakhulu ngalokweqile kunaleli lelinye sisho kilo leli lincane ulibone nje lokuthi ungathi leli seliphuma phumile kunaleli lelinye leti impawu cishe tifanana nanana kolokuphuma kwengatana kuphume yona lengatana khona la kule ngono lencane kubabe kubike lokuthi kunemonakalo yebo leti impawu cishe tifane lo mehluko nje kuba lokuthi lokwendakala kwakhona mhlambe kubo babe akukavami kakhulu njengala kithi thina bomake thina sihambe embili inombolo yethu iba iningi kakhulu nayicathaniswa nalabo babe kodwa yona lena lencane makagula maswati laphathekile kungako sithi ke asitinakeni ngoba kusho ukuthi nabo bobabe basengotini uma ngabe laba labancane batfolakele banayo imdlavuza
sinabo yini bobabe sine leSwatini lesebatfolakele nje banawo umdlavuza wamabele
abobabe bakhona even lethu labatfolakele banamdlavuza welibele balashwa bobabe
basheshe bafike emitholampilo bakhona kwelashwa bona ingabe kuyasikwa yini khona kibo noma
nalo kwelapha kujinge kufanani noba lilincane kodwa ngoba sidethi khona letinyamana noma lelimaselana lelakha lona lelibele nathi khuluma ngithi nje tawususwa tona leto tinyamana leto letincane alashwe ngaleyo ndlela leyo babe siyababona bobabe and lesingakusho ukuthi kubo babe kakhulu kuba lula mhlawumbe nalokuthi bavele ngoba ukhanza kuthi letigadla bona basheshe mhlawumbe batibone bese ke sikuba futhi naloko ukuthi kubo babe mhlambe akusiko fanana nathi lokwesaba ngoba nje na uthi kubaba kasuselibele yena mhlambe lo mehluko egcokeni kwakhe nase kumeni kwakhe njengibabe angeke athintheke kakhulu njengakithi sinemake nasengithi sengisuselibele nje sengibaba nemehluko lomkhulu so siyibone ungathi bona bayakushakutelela lokulashwa kakhulu kunabo baba kunabo make
I think nomunye vele nje uyatibutana lazelo ukuthi vele nakathi thola naso anawo lomdlavuza atibuta ukuthi ngisukela ngani uchamukapi so is it genetic noma mhlambe kukhona ama risk factors mhlambe labanga ukuthi vele sibe nawo lomdlavuza
kumdlavuza sithi vele kuba nalemithelela kuba nalama risk factors lesithi kuba ngiwola nyusa lamatfuba ukuthi umuntu athi khanzeke seanaye emdlavuza lafaka ekhathi nayo lenza bayeke ukuthi vele umlandvo wasekhaya uthini uyakhona mdlavuza vele kuba lufuto lolubi lolungaba khona emndenini kungako uma ngabe ube nesihlobo sengadi lesike lisaba namdlavuza sithi sale sikubhasobha ke wena ngalokwengedekile sendele kuthi uma kwendeka kuba khona lokucala sisheshe sikubone kuphinze kube khona lenza bayokuthi sidla kanjani elulo kuyabaluleka kakhulu lokuthi sinake inzaba yekudla lokudla lesikudlako labanye bayabathi singilokudla vele lesikudlako uma ngabe singadidli ibhitfo lo mtimba ube uyakhonona uyabonakalisa lokuthi kukhona lokushodako kungako ke sithi kuyayibanga kuyawenyusa lamatfuba lokuthi udle emafutha lamanengi tinswayi letinengi nalokudla kungabi lokwakhako kuyakungetela lamatfuba kuphenze ngete ematfuba lokuthi ngabe uyashukuma yini kumcoka lokuthi lemitimba siyishukumisa nasingayishukumisi ayanza lamatfuba ukuthi umonakalo lofaka ikhathi mdlavuza nakuwe bese sewuyendeka seyikhona ke lenza bavele kubhema ligwayi kakhulu lokuthi ligwayi lakhona bayimbangela yabo mdlavuza nje labahlukehlukene kungako sithi emaswatini vele kube besitendela ngasiyayekela kulisebenzisa ligwayi sekuba ke kunatha tshwala nako ngelinani lelisetulu nako kuyawanzisa kakhulu lamatfuba ukuthi umuntu angaba nabo mdlavuza elulo
ukhuluma ngekudla kakhulu ukudla lokunemafutha nane junk food vele kahle hle ingabe umfulu lesingathi mhlambe obese lo sidudla lomkhulu kakhulu usamathubeni lasetulini kumtfola mdlavuza compared to lona mhlambe lona body weight nje le kahle noma nje kuyafanana umkhulu uncama sengodini ukuthi ungamthola mdlavuza
cishe kulenza baye weight ke kungahlukana lokuthi ngomdlavuza kumbe wasiphi sitfo ngoba while sithi bomdlavu ama risk factors cishe abanguma risk factors la ngena cishe kubo bonke labo mdlavuza mhlambe ngeke sithi mhlambe lelinani lemtimba lingangibeka emathubeni lasetule kuba namdlavuza welibele kodwa nje lelinani lemtimba vele sithi asiyisebenza inzaba yalo asithi nje nasibona ukuthi lo mtimba uya ngalokuba mkhulu sibese siyabuka lendlela yokunciphisa ngoba ngaphandle kwalesifo samdlavuza tiningi letifo letinye letibese tithatha imatfuba manje kuyasida ke lokuthi siushukumise vele sibuke ukuthi siukala kanjani siulungise ube kahle so khona ukuthi silwe nje nalokho somtimba ukhone kuhlala usesimeni sekutilwela wona netifo letehlukehlukene
ingabe ngahlala isikhathi lesinganani nje solongungadi solongeva ukuthi nginaso sifo samdlavuza emabele kuyendeka ukuthi kuphela iminyaka ngingabona ama symptoms lamabeleni
kuvama lokuthi esikhathini lesiningi ukhanze ukuthi ngiyasiva lesigadla la ebeleni ngingumuntu ukhanze ukuthi ngithi nje ngikusiva ngoba lesigadla lolu siva makubabede ebuhlungu kusho nje ukuthi utawuva nje isigadla lesikhona ebeleni lesingakadayeleki kodwa na uthi uyabamba cha kude ebuhlungu lobukhona kwendeke lokho ukuthi kube lula ukuthi umfahlale naso sigadla esikhathini lesiningi angahlala sikhathi lesithi letinye taleti gadla ukhanze ukuthi besicale vele side namdlavuza kusigadla nje lesingafuneki kepha ebeleni kodwa ngenxa yokuhlala bese sokhanza sesigcine siyawakha vele lomdlavuza ngaloko ukuthi bekude lobuhlungu lesikubona kuyinkinga kakhulu ngilokuthi kube manele tigadla lolu tithi nathi vela nje tibabe tibe nebuhlungu mhlambe vele umfu ngawushakela aye esibhedlela kodwa ngalokho tibabe tebuhlungu umuntu uyahlala naso sigadla labanye na ukhuluma nabuve nje kusengihleli nasi iminyaka bese solo sikhula kancane kancane sikhona ebeleni sewe singakhi lo minyaka sengineminyaka lengaka ngisibona sengikuthi nyalo sesibhlungu sengikhathi ke eta esibhedlela ngoba imitimba yethu 5 kuye ngekweukuthi kuye loyo monakalo ubese sokuqala nini lokuveda buhlungu kanti ke lulu uma bekata uchamuka lo muntu analesigadla nje side nalobhlungu mhlambe sisesesincane futhi asathanza kusiva ukhanza sesingakhona ukukhipha sona kuphela bodokotela bakhiphe nje lesigadla kuphela kube indlela yekwelapha la edlula kiyo kodwa ngalokuthi siyahlala sisasibuka kulokunye sisazama netindlela letinye tekwekuthi engabe ngisisusa njani lesigadla ukhanze ukuthi lesigadla siyakhula vele egcineni sekutagcina sale sidinga ukuthi sisusele libele uma ngabe vele kungumdlavuza ebeleni ngoba mhlambe sesikhula khulile lesigadla sesigcine sahlala nesikhathi solo sila ebeleni kumake
yo so sibele nje kuleti impawu lothi vetile I think udivetile ukuthi vele ngilesigadla yes nalokuthi lengoni bangathi yashwaphana noma ibleed iphume ebovu ingabe nasekulapho nasengibona lama symptoms lapho kusuke sewuhambe kangakanani emdlavuza lemtimbeni labeleni
letimpawu tiyashiyana letimpawu tona atisinikete isithombe sekwekuthi sengikusiphi isigaba ngoba kuyashiyana ngemuntu lomunye nje angachamuka athi ngibone ngale ngadi chamuka ukhanze kusina kwendiwa letinhlolo ke ukhanzakala thina le staging asiso lesihambe kakhulu kuya ngaloko ukuthi nasekulashwa kubukwa lo monakalo lo labeleni bese kuba ngiwo lo sinika lesithombe sekwekuthi wosibona lesigadla bese sonile nalabeleni bese sitithinthile netimbi lapho telbeni ngaleso sizathu file soke sengunasi isigaba nasi kuye ngaloko ukuthi nase libukwa lelibele umonakalo uhambe wabangakanani kodwa nje lokuthi leliphawu kuchamuke ngiyabekisa nje ukuthi ngithi isigaba sesingaka lokucisha kusinike isithombe ngaba ngilokuthi nase sibona vele libele seline silonza esikhathini lesiningi lapho nasi sibona sesilanga phandle nje esikhathini lesiningi vele ukhanza silomonakalo sohambe kakhulu ngoba kakhulu kwavela silonza ukhanza sivele sengilesigaba lesi sekugcineni sengilesigaba sesini kungako sikhutsata kakhulu ukuthi wakubona nje longakudayela emtimbeni wakho phutfuma ngamatubane uye esibhedlela
yeah sina survivors futhi ke nolwazi vele lenhlaleni ihleni walethe lapha ehlelweni besinaye nje make lemavikana lambalwa waveta ke vele indzaba ye stigma ngokuthi vele kumele bahlale baye emtholampilo bayonda exam kuhlola ukuthi vele mdlavuza uyabuya yini ingabe nabe so conquerishile somlaphile wacetha medication soliyacubeka yinatha angana namathuba ekutha aphinza abuye
ngalolu lesifo lesingilo lulu ngoba sende kanje kule takhamtimba tendelo monakalo ke takhele tigadla uyakhona mdlavuza kuphinza abuye kanti besalashiwe ancubile umuntu uyakhona mdlavuza kuphinza abuye lokwendeka ke kubangiloko ukuthi ngikungako sithi wangena nje wangenela lo lihambo lokwelashwa mdlavuza thina nawe asisahlukani sesibadinini vele impilo yethu yonke ngoba sihlala vele sicaphele ukuthi kude indlala zama kwenda umonakalo khona kungako ke sithi njalo ngeminyaka noma ngabe sengilashiwe ngacetha angijike ngiye esibhedlela ngiyobukwa nje ukuthi kusahamba kahle yini hayi labeleni lebelisusiwe kuphela kodwa nje konke lamtimbeni ngitobuka kude la lo monakalo ufuna ukucala khona ngaleyo ndlela leyo ke ngidinaka ukuthi nakungenteka ngoba kulokunye sibonile alashwe umuntu umdlavuza kulinye libele aphile akuphelele konke bese soyacala futhi nakulelinye libele kulokunye aqale kulomlomo wesibeletho nakhona phinza ngenele indlela yokwelapha ngoba yona nalo monakalo usuke solo lokhu ufuna nje ukucala yebo siyazama ke lokho sichubeke sibakhuthate dlani kahle shukuma vele lempilo sale uyinaka kodwa nakwenteka chamuka lokubaluleka kuba lokugijima futhi sihambe le ndlela yekwelashwa aphinza ancobe make ngaleyo ndlela leyo.
Yeah, ngiyacabanga nolwazi ukuthi vele ni network umgomo lomkhulu ukuthi vele sive sonke sigcine siyati kahle i-breast and cervical cancer sinelwati lolunengi. Ingabe kulokuphuma nekungena kuyona mhlawumbe ngena la emangweni nikhulumisana naso sive nicocisana naso nanibuka sebanalo inlwati mhlawumbe lesingathi lwanele nasibuka nje mhlawumbe imibuto labayibutako nama suggestions nama opinions abo nje labavetako.
Kulokuhlalisana nemaswati sicocisana siyabona lokuthi akusafanani nasicala sasibona lokuthi lokuyikhuluma nje lenzaba uyabona lokuthi kunelivala lelikhulu ukhanze ukuthi kunebantu nje labevangaza uthi ngeke nje sikhulume ngetindzawo tami letimcoka ngetindzawo tami leti private kodwa nyalo sesiyahlala sicocisane lokusijabulisako phinze futhi sisihlele sicocisane ubone lokuthi naleli thuba lekuhlola emaswati ayalijabulela yebo lokusaba kujinge kube khona kuba khona lokusaba nje ukuthi bengcono ngingadi kungenteka ningitshele ukuthi kunenkinga ngidase ngisho naphi siphinze sivele lokuthi noma ngabe seyikhona lenkinga siphinze sikubambe isandla sihambe nawe utotocinseleka ukuthi uyanakekela ngalokuphelele so ikhona lefiye kodwa kusafanani nje ngayidolo siyakujabulela ukuthi lenye igroup lebesikhanza ukuthi kulikhuni ukukhulumisana nayo bekuba bobabe ukhanze nje ukuthi bobabe hey kungabi lula lokuthi ukhulumisa ngetindzawo letinje kodwa nje boba bese bayakhona kuhlala babude manje make nase ophakaneng ubone lokuthi boba nabo kuyabahlupha bayaba concerned ngalesikhathi bomake sebaphathekile kungakho bayafuna nalo lelwati lokuthi ngimlekelela njani vele make ngihleli naye ekhaya lesikujabulelako kakhulu yebo lolwati lusengakeneli lulu kusese kuningi lekufanele sikwende kodwa nje sesikwendile futhi emaswati siyabonga lokuthi ayaqhubeka semukele ngekusijabulela.
Yeah, ngalokho sivele singemaswati sibamhla abamnyama labanenge bethu mhlambe sitawukholela ekutheni hayi mina ngidawo nathi imbita ngidawo nathi ama herbs ami ngiphile ingabe niyakubona yini lokho kwenteka ukuthi ngabe sithini vele secwayiso mhlawumbe WHO uyakuvumela lokho ukuthi vele tinzaba double cancer unathe imbita nani ma supplements kuyasida vele.
Cishe lesiye sikusho lokuthi ngoba sine nje maswati vele sinasithi siyalema emangweni siye maswatini mbamba lafike nje akutshele maswati lokuthi kude indlela yokuthi ngingahlala ngingayinathi impita yami siye sicele lokuthi ikakhulu uma ngabe umuntu futhi sekuthiwe uyagula ikakhulu uma sekuthiwe nangu umdlavuza asewukhona siye sicele vele lokuthi nanyalo siyacela emaswatini lokuthi kwathiwa ngumdlavuza asinikete bodokotela lithuba lekokuthi bamlaphe umuntu sibanikete nalokuthi sibethembe lokuthi nabamlaphako benda kona sibanike nje lesikhathi ukuthi nyalo ngoba usahamba bodokotela asabone bona acethe mhlawumbe letimbita nako konke lulu sikunathe sisengakadibani neligama lamdlavuza mhlawumbe futhi sikunathe seselashiwe sacethe kodwa ngalesikhathi sekwelashwa ukhanza kusilomtimba le treatment lonikwa yona iyasinza kakhulu kulomtimba nasesiphinze sigeta nalokwa sesiusinza kakhulu lomtimba kanivele wendlula esikhatsini la khona ulimate kakhona so sekuba kucela lapho kuthiwa ukhanza ukuthi ngoba sesibhicana nalokwa sesiumuka lamandla kakhulu kube ukuthi nje nangabe umuntu usalifolile leligama lelithi unamdlavuza siyacela lokuthi athembe ibhedlela tetfu asibamikise bantu esibhedlela bese siyema ke kulekelela bodokotela sibanike nje lithuba balaphe bodokotela bacethe elulu.
Speaking of ibhedlela nje kuzivetela nje sithombe semitamo yahulumende la yendile kuzama nje kuletha lolusito thutane la Eswatini nasibuka nje bo chemotherapy bamhla banamdlavuza sabaya khona kolashwa lapha esibhedlela ngabe sikhuluma nje ngemitamo yahulumende la yendile kuzama kusonzeta lusito.
Hulumende so wende lokunengi hulumende siyabonga kakhulu futhi kuye ngaloko emalangeni lengcile lulu emaswati bekakhona kumhlambe kusitakala ngendlela yokuthi nje sithi ngilesigaba sekucala sekwelapha la sithi khona kukhona lokususwako emfini bukhanza kuthi ngiloko kuphela labakhona ukuthola la even lethu kodwa nasebathi ngabo chemotherapy sekuthi ngaloko ukuthi bahambe bayendala sifana nakhona lapho besibonga ngoba bekungcono lokuthi bahambe kuneke ukuthi kube bede lokwendiwako elulu kodwa lebe sikukhala lapho kakhulu kuloko ukuthi simsusa lo muntu ahamba ayofuna lo sito ngalesikhathi adzinga lo mndeni wakhe kakhulu khona nakangale asenda le ndlela dekwelapha letilikhuni uyawudzinga lo mndeni wakhe kubuya kungathi angafuthumatwe ngibo ngalesikhathi eva lobhlungu lendlula kibo kodwa ngalokho bakhashane ke bese umukeka lokutfola lelo support leyo kwaba kuhle ke lokho ukuthi uhulumende wayiva lendzaba yokuthi ingaba khona indlela ethi be khona ibhedlela la khaya siyabonga ukuthi netinkampani leti khona even let tasukuma talekelela Boswas and Water Services balekelela ukuthi ayibe khona vele le chemotherapy unit la even let yaba khona ke lapha embabane government wakhona uhulumende kuthenga konke lokufanele ukuthi emaswati atfole imijovo yabo khona sakujabulela kakhulu lokho abakhona ke maswati lalashwa yanza ke lulule nombolo ngoba basayinto lasifana nje sebaya kumunye umnyango kwabonakala ke ukuthi cha sekuba likhuni lokubanaka enzaweni yini wasehulumende ke sovula lapha endaskamanzini labe kuyi TB clinic khona TB hospital khona wavula ukuthi nakhona kube khona sibhedlela kube khona ligumbi la khona kungaqhubeka kwendiwe labo chemotherapy khona siyakujabulela kakhulu lokho ngoba emaswati nje laqhamuka le ndaselibonjeni akusadzingi ukuthi abancanca itayimbabane sayakhona angena kamanzini anakwe khona angene embabane laqhamuka kubo speaking angene khona akube dvudane lulu akhona kusitakala siyakholwa futhi ukuthi litiko letempila likaqedzi ngoba kusenengonyena lesithi iradiation lokhanza ukuthi bayayidzinga abantu nabalashelwa mdlavuza kwanyalo bekasaqhubeka babayisa kubomakhelwane kuyowenda lesigabana leso sekugcina sekwelashwa kodwa siyabonga lokho ukuthi litiko letempilo siyaliva lokho ukuthi lisendleleni iyasetshenzwa leyo ndzaba leyo masinyane nakhona itawugcina ifikile ekhaya sikujabulele kakhulu sibonga nje naloko ukuthi uhulumende nakhulunywa indzaba yokulashwa kwamdlavuza lolu kuyadula kakhulu emaswati lamanengi ngeke akhone kumema letindleko atimemele wona kungako ke sijabula lo uhulumende bese soyangenelela soyathetfala leto tindleko lelo kude emaswati abese ayaphila lo
Yeah, so this weekend nidabene ne-walk yenu lenhleleni yenda breast cancer awareness walk sichazela kabantu ngayo
kulelanga lakusasa kulelanga lekusasa sidabe sine Brave the Breast Walk lokulu hambo lulu lesithi kulashwa mdlavuza kulukhuni kakhulu manje ke babuka laba labacala lenhlangano bathi yini nje lesingenda ngayo umflo ongakake yena watfola mdlavuza kuthi eve kuthi lo mflo namdlavuza utiva kanjani kwabukwa ke lenthaba kwathi naya ikahle ke iSheba Breast Mountain na unyuka lenthaba inetigaba letehlukehlukene la na usancanca kunesigaba la khona ukhona nje kuthi la wena ubone ukuthi ngiyancanca kukhona la ufika khona lulu udzinge umuntu akwewede udzinge umuntu akulekelele kuze weqhubeke nelihambo
lwamba onke lama stages
kanjalo nanakalashwa lo muntu kuyende kafika esigabeni la khona yena noma thanza kangakanana akasakhona ngoba nalamandla sekude nalentshisekelo seyihambe yaphela so udzinga ke thina sitihlobo ukuthi simelekelele simewede sathi nje lelihambo sifuna sikuniketele sithombe sekuthi kwendeka lani uma ulihamba na usaqhubeka uhamba kukhona la ufika khona ubone ukuthi uyathi kube ngihamba ngedwa ke la bengidawusaba kakhulu kodwa ngalokho ukuthi ngihamba nginebantu labangisekele labathutane nami kuyahambeka nakhona kumuntu lolashelwa mdlavuza tigaba leti kanjalo tijinge tibe khona sidabe sinalo ke lelihambo lelo kusasa silapha ke lobamba technical center la khona sidabe sihamba khona bakhona nalabamfu labalashelwe mdlavuza kuphindze kulekelela ku raise nje imali tekuba nakekela lulu sendele letinye tinfo letingaphandle kwaloku lokwendiwa nguhulumende fayikhathi kubagibeta nabayetibhedlela ulekelela sibhadale ema laboratory fees la qhamuka athingeke baselashwa sidabe sinabo sidabe sihamba nje kanye masibuya ko bese sesiya khona futhi kuthola lithuba lekufunza ngamdlavuza sikhona ukuthola lithuba lekuhlola sihlolele mdlavuza sithola lithuba futhi lekushukumisa imitimba ngoba noma sowulashiwe walashelwa mdlavuza kunendlela yokushukumisa umtimba lochubeka uyende kungako ke sidabe sishukumisa imitimba yethu kanye bakashukuma noma ba sports council baqinisekisa ukuthi siyayifunza vele letindlela letehlukehlukene tekushukuma emagagoli
hayi sesitawubona nakusasa siwakhulu nolazi bukela sibahlele emarket nasibuya sawuthatha i-traffic update.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze
being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita loku kusemndeni.
Asibenze silemukele sifuna kuva simo semgwaqo na inspector Sehlo Dlamini Nkosi asikuvusele kuhambeka kanjani lomhlakseni emigwaqweni yelive.
Anguvusele emthombeni ngivusele nawo wonke lobukela wona umsakazo Eswatini TV namuhla ekseni imigwaqo yelive sesiyisholile bese kubonile njeke ukuthi awu imfuyo iyabonakala ikakhulu ngale ngaselibonjeni kusuka kumalinza ubheke khona bomathetha bomathini na uthatha ke nangomgwaqo lobheka khona usuka kulukhula ubheke khona eBig Ben kwatise ukuthi leyo ndawo leyo iba nemasakadela emoba lawala malolini naka usuka umoba usuka khona eBig Ben uye khona eSimunye unxusa njeke ukuthi sive simane sibambisane kuze sito khona ukuthi siphephe ikakhulu kuyo imfuyo lexoshaqosha wona umoba ekhasimgwaqweni ngani lapha eBig Ben lesekutholile lesixwayisa ngabo basebenzisi bemgwaqo ukuthi emaloli nazo tikulumba letinze letiphuma khona ekhase emasimini bese sesijoyina wona umgwaqo siyacela ukuthi basebenzisi bemgwaqo bamanye bababekekelele kwatise phela ukuthi nabo basuke bachuba lona phela liphosholo kungabi kwekuthi bese sebaba abantu lesebajake kakhulu lokungagcina sekubabangele tona ingoti kani ke emadolobheni lamakhulu kufaka ikhathi imbabane manzini mathapha nayo inhlangano tibane temgwaqo elangeni lalamuhla siyasebenza kude sesingamphathamisa umsebenzisi wemgwaqo sekungamane kusho njeke ukuthi lokho siya khona kumpela sonto siyacela ukuthi emaswati amane alayishane kahle ikakhulu nangabe kumbeke batawuya kumbe lapho khona utawuthatha ubusuku bonke imilindelo phela lona ushayelako akamane alithole ithuba lokuthi aphumule endele ukuthi nase sekusile sekufanele babuyele emuva akhone kusishayelela leso sive angabe sesobanjwa naye before kungaba nguloko lenkubikako ngibafisele basebenzisi bemgwaqo nempela sonto lephephile.
Swakhulu Nkosi nguye inspector Sehlo Dlamini lo yasivetela nje sithombe sesimo semgwaqo lomhla ekseni lapha eVena siselikhefu nasibuya sathatha indzabade singisi.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu
sivile sive sikhulume.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. This is the news at 7. His Majesty King Mswati III, accompanied by Lipovela Zuma, has attended the 27th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM, held in Samoa. The head of the Commonwealth family, His Majesty, welcomed His Majesty King Charles III during the meeting, reminded member states to learn more of the lessons of the past and also be proud of who they have become.
His Majesty King Mswati III, accompanied by Lipovela Zuma, attended the Commonwealth meeting themed One Resilient Common Future, Transforming Our Commonwealth. Upon arrival at the meeting, His Majesty was received by the Commonwealth Secretary General, Her Excellency Patricia Scotland, and the Prime Minister of Samoa. The Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM, brings together delegations from 56 nations from Africa, the Caribbean and Americas, Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. The King and Ngwenyama was part of the heads of state and heads of government that discussed how Commonwealth can work together to build resilience, boost trade, and empower youth to build a more peaceful and sustainable future.
The King of Eswatini,
His Majesty King Charles III attended the meeting for the first time as king. The king arrived for the meeting accompanied by Queen Camilla. The CHOGM is aimed to reinforce multilateral cooperation, explore new opportunities, and tackle common challenges for the well-being of future generations. This meeting is held in every 2 years. The head of CHOGM, His Majesty King Charles III, reminded Commonwealth members to learn from lessons of the past and be proud of who they have become.
For my part, I can assure you today that for however many years God grants me, I will join you and the people of the Commonwealth on every step of this journey. Let us learn from the lessons of the past. Let us be proud of who we are today, and together let us forge a future of harmony with nature and between ourselves that our children and our grandchildren deserve.
Outgoing chairperson of the Commonwealth Organization, His Excellency Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, passed on the chairmanship to the new chairperson, the Prime Minister of Samoa. The president also revealed that finances are needed to cross the climate change bridge, but what is more important is the cooperation and commitment towards combating climate change.
the people of Samoa have been eagerly awaiting your arrival.
Samoa Prime Minister, His Excellency Fiame Naomi Mat-Afa, welcoming their majesties and the rest of the delegates, highlighted that the Commonwealth Charter unites the Commonwealth family, which is very important for the resilience of nations of member states. This year marks the 27th Commonwealth Heads of Governments meeting, and this year also marks the 75 years of the creation of the modern Commonwealth with the signing of the London Declaration. His Majesty King Mswati III, His Majesty King Charles III, and other heads of state and government then proceeded to a family photo. After the official opening of the meeting, their majesties, heads of state and government, had private deliberations on Commonwealth issues. His Majesty King Mswati III was accompanied by His Royal Highness Prince Simelane, Her Royal Highness Princess Cebile, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Pulile Shakantu, the Minister of Economic Planning, Dr. Tambo Gina, the Minister of Commerce, Mangoba Kumalo, the Eswatini Ambassador in Malaysia and in other parts of Asia, His Excellency Menzi Dlamini, Eswatini Ambassador in the United Kingdom, Her Excellency Thandazile Mbuyisa. His Majesty King Mswati III, accompanied by Lipovela Lazuma, attended a welcome reception and a state banquet at Football Federation grounds the day before the meeting. The welcome ceremony was prepared by the head of the Chogam family, His Majesty King Charles III, and the head of the government in Samoa. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia with Mxolisi Mavimbela and Temba Mamba in Samoa.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Kusile says government is committed to improving the lives of Eswatini in accordance with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The Deputy Prime Minister was speaking at the commemoration of the United Nations Day, where she was represented by the Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Honorable Jane Simelane, and was held at Eswatini Community School.
Speaking on behalf of the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Honorable Jane Simelane, says the country has incorporated all the Sustainable Development Goals into its development agenda to ensure that the citizens of the country are well developed.
The country has partnered with UN since time immemorial. And there's a lot that the country has achieved through the partnership with the United Nations. That partnership, we have seen the partnership bearing fruits, especially in legislation formulation or the legal fraternity. We have seen the UN supporting the country in the ratification of international treaties of all forms.
The interim resident coordinator of the United Nations, Noha Kesi, says as the United Nations, they are worried about the sporadic wars that are erupting around the world as they affect mostly women and children and hinder development.
The United Nations continue to stand for hope. We stand for peace. We stand for justice. And we stand for a better future for all. The recent adoption of the Pact of the Future and the Global Digital Compact and the Declaration of the Future of Generation all aim to ensure that our efforts meet the needs of people today while we prepare for tomorrow.
The chief of Eswatini, Umngani Mashambu Khumalo, says children who are well versed in the development agenda of the country and also the sustainable development goals can be better leaders of tomorrow.
Their views on the United Nations will most likely influence the way their local, regional, and international leaders address societal challenges.
To commemorate the day, the United Nations will assist the school with painting, fixing of the floors, and also the expansion of the school's gardens where indigenous vegetables are planted. Reporting, Mbongwa Dube, Eswatini.
The Acting Minister of Information, Communication and Technology is also the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Honorable Philip Telezi, says cybersecurity is a national priority for the Kingdom of Eswatini. Minister Telezi made these remarks while officially opening the Eswatini workshop on cyber readiness. The workshop, which includes a wide range of stakeholders, is being held at the Royal Villas Hotel in Eswatini.
This workshop is taking place as the country observes the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month under the theme Secure Our World. Speaking during the official opening of the workshop, Honorable Philip Telezi, the Acting Minister of ICT, who is also the Minister of Labour and Social Security, said that in this digital era, cybersecurity threats are complex and constantly evolving.
In today's digital age, the threats we face are becoming more sophisticated and evolving, requiring our coordinated efforts, vigilance, and dedication to protect our digital infrastructure. It means building a culture of awareness, accountability, and collaboration that spans across sectors and borders.
This workshop is organized by the United States Embassy in Eswatini, represented by Embassy's Diplomatic Technology Chief, Alan Dwight.
Cybersecurity is no longer just a technical issue. It is a critical component of national security, economic stability, and public safety. I know that Eswatini has an ambitious goal, the digitization of government services, creating an e-government that will enable citizens around the country to access their services from anywhere, making government more efficient, more accessible, and more effective.
The CEO of the Eswatini Communications Commission, ESCOM, is represented by Fikile Kama.
We understand that the digital landscape is constantly evolving, and so are the threats we face. Our mission is to ensure that we are not only prepared to respond, but also to be proactive in our approach to cybersecurity. In line with this mission, we are committed to raising awareness and providing education about cybersecurity throughout the country.
During the launch of this year's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, ESCOM revealed that cyber attacks occur every 39 seconds, particularly targeting modern financial transactions. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Ezulwini.
The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Honorable Jane Simelane, has appointed an 8-member gaming board to be in office for a period not exceeding 3 years. The Honorable Minister implored the new board to work diligently and expedite all matters brought to its attention in the spirit of Nkwe Command.
The new Gaming Board of Control Act 2022, with which you are appointed, details the following functions, framework, and the composition of the board. I will urge you to implement the Gaming Control Act of 2022. I would also like you to timelessly issue licenses with the Nkwe agenda, especially ekuvuleni businesses opportunities in the country. You will recall that Esibayeni, His Majesty, so issuing licenses is one of the key pillars in the business establishments in the country. We have Mandla Laki Dlamini, the chairperson of the gaming board. Umlangi is the chairperson. We have Telmusa Dlamini, who is a member. We have Temba Manana, who is the ICT specialist. We have Fikile Dlamini, a member representing the Accountant General's Office. We have Thandeka Simelane, a member representing the Attorney General's Office. We have Cynthia Lukumba, a member. We have Gnangai Tshabetse, a member. We have Max Dlamini, forming part of the Secretariat. That is the inspector.
The Eswatini Tourism Authority has launched the Trial and Familiarization Tour together with Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency as well as the Mozambique Tourism Board. This initiative aims to revive the tourism sector and boost collaboration for the three entities. Minister Honorable Jane Simelane says she is confident in the success of this initiative given that South Africa and Mozambique are Eswatini's largest source markets.
The Triland Agreement is a responsive and inspiring innovation by the three entities dedicated to boosting tourism revenue and arrivals in the respective countries. With the efforts of generating 2 million arrivals by 2027, the agreement and activities such as the familiarization tour will contribute towards increasing the length of stay in Eswatini from 1.5 nights to 3 nights. Minister Honorable Jane Simelane says the partnership speaks to their mission to set new targets, having tourism being one of the priority sectors in the kingdom's economic recovery strategy.
Rooted firmly in the aim to promote the region as a tourist, trade and investment destination, the rebirth of the Triland Agreement could not have come at the more appropriate time. As the world enjoys the caution revival of tourism sector, the need for collaboration has never been more pronounced. Therefore, Triland responds aptly and directly to the new world order by enabling joint investment opportunities, product and infrastructural and marketing initiatives of Eswatini, Mpumalanga, and Mozambique routes. Collectively, Eswatini, Mozambique, and Mpumalanga have revived this initiative with the goal to promote our unique selling point: nurture in Mpumalanga, culture in Eswatini, the sea, and white sand beaches in Mozambique.
The minister says the trial responds directly to this new order by enabling joint investment opportunities, product and infrastructural and marketing initiatives of the three routes. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I am Setable Mamba with Giani Msibi in Babane.
Officials from central ministries, which are the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Public Service, have been trained on using the Umsebe Integrated Financial Management Information System, a system that will, amongst other things, track public money efficiently. Kusile, who is the project manager, says the first phase of budgeting will not be done on the system.
Presently, as a government, we have a system. We have an accounting and budgeting system that we have been using that was developed in 1993. So that one is more accounting, more figures, more transactional. But this one is coming now with the transactional and the financial management aspect.
Senior Budget Officer at the Ministry of Finance, Muzi Dlamini, gives the objectives of the training.
The aim of the training is to give users a live experience on the new system. The system comes with a lot of changes. It's an automation of government processes which were already existing, but they're now being put together into one system. We expect the system to go live, when is it now? Around October. Yeah, so we will be budgeting on the new system for the coming financial year. At least the rollout of the first phase, which is the planning and budgeting module, will be commencing right now in October.
Piro from the Rwandan Corporation, which is assisting government with the system, explained the key things they will be training the officials on.
Teaching them about the full scope of the public finance management cycle, which is automated in one software which integrates all the stage of the public finance management, from the planning to budgeting, and from budgeting to accounting to reporting and audit. And it means the system is coming now to automate all those processes.
SEBE Integrated Financial Management Information System, according to the Minister of Finance, is a digital platform that will help government manage and track public money efficiently and transparently to enhance accountability. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vominkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Business Eswatini says it will only reconsider its intent to leave the Labour Advisory Board once they are afforded a bilateral meeting with the Minister for Labour and Social Security, Philip Telezi, to lay down their grievances about the board. This has been shared by the Chief Executive Officer, Inathi Dlamini, when asked why they do not attend meetings called by the Minister.
In an earlier interview with the Minister for Labour and Social Security, Honourable Philip Telezi, he said the ministry has not shut out Business Eswatini. He said he called them to a meeting with the Labour Advisory Board and they did not show up. Business Eswatini's Chief Executive Officer, Inathi Dlamini, says their complaint is about the same Labour Advisory Board, hence they need a separate meeting with the minister.
Convention 144 was promulgated on the 2nd of June, 1976, and it was ratified by this country and later domesticated in what we call today the Industrial Relations Act. Within that convention, and it's so unambiguous and unequivocal the way it's stated, the first article in that convention is it describes who should form part of the tripartite. And the explanation is people like BE, Apex Organization. And the second article explains how the tripartite should actually work. It is quite clear. And if you go to Article 3 and 4, it then talks about consensus, which is really the crux of the matter who are confronting. But also on the Article 4, it also talks about the administrative duties of a competent entity. And the question you want to ask, who is that competent entity they're talking about? And do we want to believe that it is government, the competent administrative entity they're talking about? Which means if there are problems within the LAB, you have to report them somewhere. But if you report this issue somewhere and there is no space or they don't open the door, we will remain on pause.
The Minister for Labour and Social Security has previously said to show his commitment to sorting out this matter, the Labour Advisory Board has been given 30 days to find a solution to Business Eswatini's challenges. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vominkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Let's take a look at international news this morning. His first meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in 2 years, UN Chief Antonio Guterres told Putin on Thursday that Russia's invasion of Ukraine violates international law. Guterres, who has been involved in peace efforts between the two sides since the early weeks of the conflict, also vouched for freedom of navigation in the Black Sea.
His attendance at this year's BRICS summit in Russia was criticized by Ukraine. But UN Chief Antonio Guterres used the opportunity
Mr. President,
at a roundtable with Vladimir Putin to reiterate his call for peace.
Across the board, we need peace. We need peace in Ukraine, a just peace in line with UN Charter, international law, and General Assembly resolutions.
For his part, the Russian president, who chaired the summit, warned against illusory attempts to defeat Russia on the battlefield. He also criticized the West, accusing it of trying to contain the growing power of the global South.
The transition to a more just world order is not going smoothly. Its development is being slowed down by forces accustomed to thinking in terms of dominance over everything and everyone. Illegal unilateral sanctions, outright protectionism, manipulation of currency and stock markets, interference in internal affairs under the slogan of concern for democracy and human rights, and the fight against climate change are used.
Putin also called for reform of the United Nations, giving Asia, Africa and Latin America a more important role. Moscow hopes the BRICS group, which now accounts for 45% of the world's population, will help forge a united front of emerging economies against the West. The new batch of members this year, including Egypt and Iran, showed signs of the group's growing weight. Although divisions and internal rivalries, particularly between China and India, remain.
Many Nigerians are objecting to a bill that would create an armed unit for the Federal Road Safety Corps. Rights activists are calling for the bill to be rejected, saying it could lead to intimidation, extortion and brutality.
3 years ago, Okpeyemi Folarin was on his way to a wedding ceremony in Abuja when road safety officials stopped his vehicle for a routine check. He says despite presenting all the required documents, the officers accused him of frowning and not cooperating enough. They held him for hours on the highway, forcing him to miss the ceremony.
I wasn't comfortable with them ensuring that we waste so much time. In the thick of the forest, and this is a place not even close to where people are moving from one point to another. So it gives me cause to worry.
Practices like intimidation, bribery, and extortion by road safety officials are sadly common in Nigeria. The FRSC says it is trying to fix the problem and to hold corrupt agents accountable, but says officials also suffer assault and aggression by road users while on duty. This month, Nigeria's House of Representatives approved a bill allowing the FRSC to create an armed squad.
This arm we're talking about
even if the bill is passed, it's not for our men to take to the road. It's to guard our facilities and, of course, maybe some of our senior officers. So it's not that they will use it for enforcement or take it on patrol.
But many, like human rights activist Abiodun Thomas, disagree.
Already they are aggressive, but immediately they start carrying ammunition, they become excessively aggressive. Even policemen, when you look at the ones that are with weapons, they are usually power intoxicated. And do not forget that some of these people might not be mentally stable.
Thomas was recently beaten and arrested by police while participating in a procession at the Lekki tollgate in Lagos to remember the brutal shooting of protesters there by Nigerian security forces 4 years ago. For years, Nigerian security forces have been embroiled in allegations of abuse and excessive use of force. Hamzat of the FRSC has this to say.
Brutality is individualistic. Don't forget, recruitment is done from members of the public. By the virtue of training, everybody is blended to do some things. So among those trainees, some would abide in toto, some would misbehave.
There is also a growing concern over the proliferation of illegal firearms among non-state actors. This week, during an arms destruction exercise, the National Security Office said many of the illicit weapons often used by terrorists and bandits originally belonged to officials. The firearms bill still needs approval from the Senate and President Bola Tinubu to become law. Timothy Obiezu, VOA News, Lagos, Nigeria.
In our sports news, Eswatini Football Association's president Peter Simelane says the association is still working towards Agenda 2030 of ensuring that by then the country will qualify for Africa Cup of Nations. Simelane says in order for that to happen, the national team Sihlangu Samnikati should work hard in Chan Games and also improve FIFA rankings, where the latest rankings have seen them standing 160th in the world.
It's for the first major tournament.
It's 20 minutes after 7, and that's it for our second bulletin. Thank you for staying with us. Don't go anywhere. Let's leave you with the weather.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Right, KBS Sports Update. You know what time it is. It is a Friday anyway, and Fabrice is already in the studio. A lot of electrifying games this weekend, but the most important one, Sihlangu Samnikati, is set to face off what they're calling a depleted Zimbabwean. I want to call these both teams prodigal teams for the very first reason, or the very fact that they both don't have home grounds, and therefore this is why Sihlangu is going to face off with Zimbabwe in Botswana. Don't be surprised, because we will also be hosting them in South Africa, in Bombela. We are prodigal sons, really, Fabrice, when you think about it. But I don't want to say it's comforting to learn that the stadium issue is not unique to Eswatini, because it's not something we want to praise. Yeah,
it's a very beautiful morning as Fiso on a Friday. 2 days away from the fixture itself, Eswatini against Zimbabwe. It's an issue that CAF, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Currently, there was an AGM that was being held in Tanzania, where there were issues were highlighted. The issue of Algeria and that game with Nigeria that they couldn't play. But the issue was also on the agenda to say, I think there are a couple of nations, including Eswatini and Zimbabwe and Lesotho, especially most of these countries are within the SADC region, where they don't have home ground that is, one or two that are at a CAF or FIFA standards. It's a really concern, because these are CHAN qualifiers. CHAN qualifiers, or rather CHAN competition, it's sort of like a competition of all African countries, but for only players who play within their countries. So we are not allowed to call international players. So you use your local leagues, which I think it's an initiative by CAF to try to say, let's just see the level of leagues in different countries within the continent. But it's really frustrating to see that for us we don't have a facility, so we cannot really make a fun of Zimbabwe. They're hosting us in Francistown in Gaborone, or rather in Botswana. It's another city outside Gaborone, which is the second biggest city in Botswana. So you talk about hosting a game away. So for Zimbabwe, it says a lot. For us also, it says a lot, because I think for us, since 2018, it's been almost 6 years now since we last hosted a game officially as a country in terms of CAF and FIFA standards. So it says a lot about us as a country. And then you also look at other criteria that include the fact that the expenses now, the team has to fly, or rather have to travel to Botswana. It's a long distance. Zimbabwe will have to do the same on the 2nd for the return fixture. So it's quite difficult. But getting to this, story itself, the game itself, the squad that has been called by head coach Lugarizic, and I think there have been quite different topics or other information coming from the camp that they don't speak the same language with the rest of the technical bench, that he makes decisions, others are also making decisions, players are arriving late. In this case, we're referring to Gwake Twala. I think we heard him on the news saying that Gwake is a good player for his club and for the national team as an assistant captain. But for 2 times now, he's reported to camp late. For the first time, it was a day and a half late. For the second time, a player is reported for camp on Sunday evening, but for him, he decided to come on Tuesday. So 2 days, these are the words of the coach. So he says discipline will be a priority in this camp. If you want to align issues of performance of the team, discipline will be one key that we'll work on. And I think that's what he's been working on. We saw the headlines highlighting that Scali, maybe in terms of discipline, he's doing better. He's been recalled in the camp. And when I did ask him personally to say, what's the change now? Bringing Scali, you didn't call him during the games against Mozambique. He said, no, I didn't call Scali because I had Figueiredo. I felt like it's a lame excuse, because they don't play the same positions. So Scali is a number 9, typical number 9. Figueiredo is a winger. So I didn't get his response, but he was trying to explain that you can't have too many forwards in one port.
We trust that man, Lugarizic.
He's been given.
Have we seen this before with our previous coaches, where they are on the field like that, getting proactively participating in terms of training?
It's been only 2-3 games. I think I'll make my judgment after this Zimbabwe game, CAF game, because now he will have local games. Local players. So, but I think I'm starting also to pick some of the things that I would say I can reserve my comments, because there's also the aspect of
don't reserve your comments.
Yeah, there's
Please
also
don't.
the aspect of trying to. I don't want to use the word threatening the media, but let's do this or let's not do this. When you call a press conference at 3:30, and then what happens is that at 2 o'clock the media report that due to some circumstances, can we suggest that you postpone to your press conference maybe to 4? And as a media, we agree on that. We send the message to the communications officer, and then we get a response to say, if you're not here by 1:15, no one is going to get an interview. So you see, I understand the line of communication needs to be established, but I think let's see. It's trying to install discipline.
Autocratic,
really? Yeah. But I think Scully being part of the squad, you know,
a good move.
Yeah, good move. We once complained also in terms of the
Veteran
midfield.
leadership, yeah.
Sponi Songwenya also has been called from Young Buffaloes. So let's see. There's a bit of maybe stability in what he's called, but yeah.
We're saying that the level playing the level. What does it say? The level playing field. I mean, the playing field is level. I beg your pardon.
Yes.
Because in football, there is what is called home ground advantage.
Yes.
Now, both teams don't have home ground advantage.
Yeah.
Do we have an advantage? Because I
No,
heard
we don't.
that Zimbabwe is, comprises of under 20, a lot of under 20 and under 23 players.
Yeah.
Is that an advantage or a disadvantage for us?
I did ask him the same question because he coached Zimbabwe prior, and he did, you know, in a way of showing off, saying that this is what he told me face to face. Say, Fabrice, remember that I made Zimbabwe qualify for the 2021 AFCON. So I know them very well. So I was like, okay, I hear you, coach, but they're calling another 20 team, we are calling a senior team. What are you saying? And he said, you know what? I've been there, I know them, but I've had the issues. But I don't think that will work in his advantage to say. Maybe he knows how the organization works, but in terms of the selection of the team and the players, it's been 3 years since he was there, so a lot has changed. But give me space. I think when you talk about home ground advantage, I think Bombera hasn't been really a good, open, facility for us. I think. I don't even recall if there was even at club level a team that was able to get better results. Was it a draw? Was it Red Leopards or something? But when I look at, in terms of the history, since we started using Bombela, I think Red Leopard also used, Orlando Stadium. I think we don't have a good results when it comes to, I think the best has been a draw in terms of us playing at Bombela. But I won't be shocked if really we face this Zimbabwe, play a draw or things don't go accordingly. But there's a hope. Let's give him this 180 minutes, 90 minutes in Francistown, home ground for Zimbabwe, and 90 minutes for us. Let's see where he takes us, because the winner has to proceed to the next stage. But we need that. But since I've always said this, maybe before we leave the topic, if we're still struggling, this is chance, Fiso. Because there is COSAFA, there's CHAN, there's AFCON, there's World Cup. These are some of the major tournaments we have to take part of. We're still struggling to make an impact in COSAFA. CHAN is where we are now. We're still making a huge struggle to make an impact. And then there's AFCON itself, the World Cup. We can't even dream about it right now. So there's so much work to be done.
And I suppose, like you said, let's take it one game at a time. We have a new coach who has assumed office, and he seems very confident. And this type of confidence can be mistaken for arrogance. We have seen the likes of Jose Mourinho, but I suppose the difference is, can he back it up, just like Jose has? Because we hear what he says. When you say he told you that he did that for Zimbabwe, attributing all the accomplishments to himself. Let's see if he can do that for us.
Let's give him the 180 minutes. 180 minutes to give us the results.
Do you have hope? Do you have hope, though?
I can only hope for a draw.
At the very best.
Yeah, the very best. Let's not look at the fact that it's an under 20. Now you came in, but what's the plan? Because we're just moving in circles. Today you call Felix, tomorrow you call Sky, tomorrow you call who, tomorrow you're not sure. And he's only been able to watch how many games? 5 games in the season? Does he have a clear understanding of our local football? It's hard to tell. It's early to tell as well. I can have my personal reasons why I feel like some players should have been called, but they were not called. I could have my reasons why maybe I feel like some of the players should have been dropped. I don't want to pick names because some of the players maybe will feel like, do you have anything against me? But there are players that I feel like can be dropped for the future. But then you look at also other players, you're like, how did they miss the opportunity? So, you've got young players, good young players. So, let me refer to players like Siyabonga Zwane of Babane Swallows. Then you ask, can they get a chance to Ayanda Gadla is not young, but does he have a future in the team? So you ask yourself, but you have got players like, Oda back in the team. Is he still a national team material? There are questions, but when you've given someone a job, you give him time and the space to deliver as you ask him accordingly.
25 senior players for this particular national duty. All the best to Sihlang Sevnigati as well as Lukarasic, who is very confident with how they are going to, play against the Zimbabwean side. Premier League of Eswatini.
Yeah.
Yes, not as many games as we would expect, like other weekends, but we do have a couple here. Match 41 is going to kick things off. We do have Galanga Stadium, Sisonke FC against Rangers at 15:30. And we also do have Morning Pirates and Bobana Swallows, Ezulwini, Manzini Seabirds, all happening this weekend. Fabrice, how do you think their results are going to?
I think if you notice, maybe a quick one to explain to the viewer why we only have these games. These are only how many? These are 6 teams. So what you can pick from this FISO is that majority of the teams that are affected by the selection of the national team are not into action this coming weekend. I'm referring to Green Mamba, to Young Buffaloes, to Royal Leopards, to teams like Babanesoro. So some of the teams that were players, most of the players have been selected for the national team duties. They're not in fixture. So for me, I think for sides like Moroni Pirates against Babanesoro, that's a huge game. That's a huge game. I think Christopher Nini did highlight that if in his field, I think it's going to test if really they have got already takes to go all the way and compete this season. For Swallows, I think they are on the race to compete, to try and maybe see if they can win the first carrot without a defeat, and also try to not concede so far. So it's a huge game. I think it's the game of the weekend. Pirates against Swallows, too much improved sides. Pirates, I feel like they still have improved. They still have to work on their striking methods. But in terms of building up the play, I'm loving what they're doing at the club. For Swallows, of course, you can't change it if it's not broken. Sisonke and Rangers, newly promoted side, that comfort, that confidence that they got from a game against Bobana Highlanders. So Sisonke will want to see if they can take it to the game against Rangers and extend their lead. Zurich United, Manzini Seabirds, I think it's a both team. I would say you would say both teams need 3 points, but I'll call it. Maybe they'll share the spoils. They'll share the points on the day. If I was to look at the game, but Pirates, they will face a tough one. Both teams to score against Babane Swallows, but Swallows to walk away with 3 points. Rangers Sisonke, it's a tricky one, but let me leave it to both teams to score because. Anything is possible. But if you look at the tables, so let's not just focus on the number 1 because they're doing what they do best. Royal Leopard, of course, look how far they are in terms of the points. 4 points behind local leaders. And then you've got Green Mamba, 5 points. And Young Buffaloes, 5 points. And Sings in 6 points. And then this is the top 5. This is how the teams finished last season. Because the only change from last season is that Green Mamba was number 2. And then Singers and Hospitals was number 3. Otherwise, these are the 5 teams that were fighting for the title last season. And of course, with what's been happening at the Bobana Highlanders camp, you will understand the issues. I think this is not pleasing for one of the biggest clubs in the land. So I always say, if you support Bobana Highlanders and Manchester United, this could be the worst season for you as a supporter. 4 points out of 5 games. And for Money Pirates, really they have got some work to do, even though I feel like they have improved, but they're seated on the 10th position.
The Money Pirates story for me, and it takes out a lot of energy speaking about it, because we had a lot of hope coming into the season, just based off how they played in tournaments.
Yeah,
they looked really promising, and yet they've only won 1 game in 5.
Yeah, there's so much work to be done. You know what?
Where did they get it wrong, Fabrice? Because they looked promising.
I think more than anything, they need time to gel. You can't rush results. New faces, yes, in terms of leadership, management, coach, yes, he's got his new style. He needs to install into the players. But you've got players like Boss Milan, the captain, they've got experience. There are players who've been there for quite some time. So they need to gel. They need to find the cohesion. They need to work as a team. So, and I think if they can get a striker, a good number 9, they can really be a good side to watch. So, but more work to be done. And I think let's just keep it this way. They shouldn't fire the coach so far. They shouldn't change too much. We shouldn't hear things coming from the camp. They should keep the team, try to work hard, and I think they will get the results. Otherwise, things are looking good for them.
Yeah, let's move on to the English Premier League because I think at least there we have a lot of thrilling fixtures going into the weekend. This is match day 9 of 38, and kicking things off on Friday today, Leicester City versus Nottingham Forest. And then moving on to Saturday, a lot of exciting games there as well, Fabrice. But I do want to know for you which one you think is the biggest game this weekend, because you look at the biggest teams, they're playing not really strong sides this weekend.
I think the biggest clash is on Sunday at Emirates when Arsenal host, Liverpool at 6:30 local time. I think that's the biggest clash. To me, it's so. I'm not saying I believe Arsenal will win the league. I still have my doubts. I don't think they will. But I think that fixture against Liverpool, if they are to lose against Liverpool, then I will confirm 100% that they cannot win the league. Because now I think it's not even going accordingly. Let's not blame it to the injuries, but I just watched their game, Champions League against Shakhtar Donetsk. Lack of confidence. I think there's a lot that is going on. So, but for me, Liverpool impressive. City always there. Arsenal also within the chase for the title. They're not out of the race. They're still in the race. It's too early in the season. But I think the teams that have been able to be impressed, Aston Villa, Brighton, with Welbeck scoring 5 goals so far in 8 games. Last season he scored 6, so you can tell that he's amongst the best strikers so far. Chelsea also pushing the button. Spurs. So I think the top 7 teams have been impressed so far.
Okay,
Maybe
let's get into that
excluding,
second team there, because it's Manchester City. They've clearly been the most dominant team in recent years. This weekend, Eswatini TV is broadcasting this game against Southampton. Well, obviously, City always a clear favourite against who they play with, but this is the Premier League where anything can happen. What do we look out for in this game? Manchester City's dominance or Southampton's defensive approach?
I think more than anything, it's they are struggling side. I think if you look at where they're in terms of the table, the rankings in the English Premiership, Southampton, they're really struggling. So I don't think it will be a difficult one for City at home. You look at where they are 19th, just a point. And that point is not because they got 3 points. It's just a draw. If I'm not mistaken, it was against Ipswich Town, who are now 4 points. So you can imagine now a team that is going to face 4 times champions in a row at home. It's not going to be an easy one. But I think more than anything, City will get the 3 points. What I like about City, as you say, is that even though you don't have your most key players, yes, the game plan will change, but they will still get the results. You can imagine they don't have Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri, and really, they haven't been able to lose that focus. Yes, they did score. Possession. Yeah, they scored on the last minute against Wolves. But then you look at teams like Arsenal, you're going to face Liverpool. You don't have Odegaard, you don't have Califorieri, you don't have Timber, you don't have Saka. These are confirmed injury. You don't have Tomiyasu, you don't have Tierney. So then it's a typical problem. But for City, going to this game, I think it's going to be an easy one for them. They shouldn't really struggle. I think Gundogan, I was actually watching their game yesterday in Champions League. He did pick up in that position in the midfield, even though you can see that there's those defensive, negligence, the hiccups, but they're a good side to watch. And I think if nothing changes, even this season, if nothing changes, I'm monitoring this Liverpool side. And then I think Coach Arne Slot has started also throwing those big questions to the media. Yesterday against Leipzig, they scored 1. Was it? The other day, on Wednesday night, they scored against Leipzig. And the first question is like, don't ask me about Arsenal if you didn't watch the game against Leipzig. If you didn't watch the game against Leipzig, then you will know that we are ready. So he started now to gain the confidence to say, I can throw this type of responses to the media. So I think I like his style. I like what he's doing. Don't change it if it's not broken. He's kept the squad, everything. There's cohesion in the team. The players listen to him. They understand him. He's asked them those issues of contracts should be dealt maybe during winter break, winter break January. But for now, let's focus. So I think it's between him and City. Arsenal is there as one of the teams that is wanting to fight for the title, but I don't think they give me that confidence.
All right. Now, I also just want to understand what Mikel Arteta's approach should be here, because we do see that, Liverpool has had quite the potent attack this season, attacking really, really well. Mohamed Salah has been brilliant, but Arteta has to have a big responsibility to how he's going to dismantle this. What approach should he take Does it defend deep to counter, attack, or press high to disrupt Liverpool's build-up?
But more than anything, it's when you realize that when you decided to let go players, then you have a serious challenge, because now you don't have Saka, and the only option you have, it's either Jesus or Sterling, and they are nowhere near what Saka gives you. So then you have a challenge where, why did you let go of Nketiah? Why did you let go of Reis? These are the players who could, if maybe you have Nketiah, you use him as your number 9, then you drop Havertz back because you have got Martinelli on the side and the other side. But then there's that question mark. I still feel like the midfielder Merino from Spain is not giving me what I want.
Yeah.
So if you use Rice, Partey, try to put maybe Jorginho to avoid pressure that is coming from your opponent. I'm really convinced with what Merino is giving me yet. But then there's that issue now going backwards, because you don't have California, you don't have Timber, but you've got White. So chances are you might switch to Kior. So there's that issue.
William Saliba's potential absence
yeah,
too.
It's not potential, actually confirmed out, yes, because they decided not to appeal the card, the yellow card, the red card rather.
And this weakens their defense.
Yeah,
obviously.
so then you've got Gabriel, and you've got White, and then you've got Kior who has to come in, and we might have a potential also. Seeing someone also taking the left back. But then these issues of injury, sometimes managers, they have a way of playing your mind, because they can only confirm the last injuries tomorrow by 6 p.m. So we can wait, maybe Saka could be present, but training session that took place yesterday on Thursday, he was not part of this training session. We don't know what's happening today, so we cannot expect anything. Martinelli, he's also mentioned that he's not back at his best in terms of fitness. There's those type of information. When then you realize that players like Nketiah and Reis, these are the moments where you need them. So I think more than anything, for Liverpool, they've got everything. If you talk about Jota is in his best form, Gakpo, McAllister, all these players are in their best form, and I think he rested Robertson on Wednesday in the Champions League game. He decided to use Tsimikas because he wants him ready for Sunday. Trent is there, Van Dijk is there, Konate. So I think for Liverpool, they've got nothing to be worried about. The only thing they can be worried about is that we're playing away, because we've got a situation where we have to look at the record of the club on home soil. I think for the past 6 months, if I'm not mistaken, they haven't lost a game in terms of I'm talking about Arsenal at home. So maybe going to Emirates, they have to think, how do we work on this? But if it's not a draw for both teams to score, I see Liverpool walking away 3 points. Strong confident, but Arsenal really, they
no chance for Arsenal to win.
I don't see them really walking away. You're 3-0, you're 2-0 now. It could be that
really hard to keep up with that
fine
pressure
matches,
on the wings by Liverpool.
Fine matches, those fine matches. But I see Liverpool with the confidence. They walk away 3 points.
All right, and then perhaps I do want to understand how you think Chelsea is going to play this weekend. Yeah, they've been playing pretty well, except for the last game. I expected them to win that game, but they didn't manage to win. But they have Newcastle this weekend. How do you think they're going to perform?
It's a tough one, because if you look at the history between the two clubs, really, it's been always a big game. They're at home. I think they should
Newcastle number 9, Lord Stadium.
Yeah,
not too far off.
Not too far from there, but I think it should be a confident. There should be a confident side. Chelsea getting to Newcastle at Stamford Bridge. Yeah, I fancy them to get 3 points.
Manchester United still confident after this win, from last weekend. Are they able to get a win against West Ham?
It could be a better result this time around away, because you look at West Ham, they are really struggling. I think since the start of the season. You look at the table where they are.
Number 12? Number 15?
Yeah, number 15. So they are struggling. They are from conceding 5 goals against Tottenham Hotspur. So Manchester could maybe use the advantage that they are struggling side. Yes, they're at home at the London Stadium for West Ham. London Stadium, they are at home, but I see them really not getting 3 points. Not to say that Manchester United, they are becoming a better side. They still have work to do. We hear reports that now they're in talks with Xavi Hernandez, former Barcelona coach, former player and coach at the same time. So let's see, is Xavi the solution to their problems? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. A club Manchester United, you don't need someone who does not understand the philosophy of the English football, someone who does not understand the philosophy of the club, and someone who does not have that maturity to deal with players. Because most of the time we've seen this thing happen. If I have played with you and I'm coaching, there's that issue of discipline. This is what we've seen with the likes of Arteta when they decided to let go of Aubameyang, because when you're dealing with the ego of someone, say, I've been with you in this situation. So you need someone who understands the culture of the club, culture of the country, and the history of the club, which I think Xavi, he doesn't fit the criteria.
We already have your prediction that Liverpool might win this weekend. They have the better chances. City, better chances to win. Arsenal, not so much. Aston Villa, they're playing at Villa Park. They should win that game.
I think they should.
They're playing Bournemouth. And Brighton, do you think Brighton's going to win or
not? I think confident-wise, they are looking good. So
they're playing Wolves.
They're playing Wolves. You could maybe fancy a draw, but if they are at home, you could give them 3 points.
Okay. I just wanted to hear your predictions for the top 5, but also happy with your prediction for Chelsea and your, I say, false prediction for Manchester United and them getting a win. Never confident with that team, but we'll see this weekend how they play. All the best to Sihlangu Semnigati. You want to say something? I give you 10 seconds.
Yeah, El Clasico this weekend. Tomorrow, Barcelona, Real Madrid. First Clasico for
Barcelona
Mbappe.
on a run. Vini on a run.
I think Barcelona, they look better this
They
side.
look really good.
They look better. So I'm first. Yeah, they could. I know Vinicius, he knows that Monday is getting the Ballon d'Or because it's been confirmed that Monday is getting the Ballon d'Or.
He deserves it.
He deserves it. So he's going to want to show something in that game, but let it not be about him tomorrow. Let it be about the club, because I think Carlo Ancelotti would want to do a double from last season. But last season was a win away and a draw, yes. But the previous season when Benzema left. So tomorrow, let's wait and see what Madrid and Barcelona have to provide. The biggest game in the world in terms of viewership. So we can't wait.
All right, it looks like we are set for a thrilling weekend. Very, very thrilling fixtures and electrifying games this weekend. Sihlangu Semnigati, all the best. A few games here at home in the Premier League of Eswatini and some exciting fixtures in the English Premier League. But just like Fabrice has just said, the El Clasico. All of that is going to be discussed here on Kusile Breakfast Show on Monday. He's going to be back here. Let's go for a net break. We'll be back shortly.
It's another popping Friday evening right here on Friday Night Lights, baby. This is the platform for the coolest DJs in the kingdom.
Mzuzu munye kude kushaya insimbi esiphohlongo lomhla ekseni sesifike emaphethelweni ehlelo lefu lomhla ekseni ngolesihlanu sicala impela somvulo sisamba kuthini dawuphepha sisaqala yona impela somvulo see you on Monday. Have a lovely weekend and sale kahle.